Well, good afternoon. This is Blu Laker. We're at Radio Tribune here in Las Vegas, 717 South 9th Street. That's at the corner of Charleston and 9th. For those of you who are just tuning in for the first time, I want to remind you that we have the Las Vegas Tribune, which is a weekly publication. That publication is an internet station, but there's lots of valuable information on that program, stuff you won't find anywhere else. So make sure that you listen up and call in when you have questions. The call-in number is 702-743-8297. And this is Blu Laker, and my program is called Cobra USA, and it has something to do with insurance, a lot to do with insurance if we could ever get it on in this country. Well, actually, we don't even have to. It's already law. All we have to do is make a few amendments to it, and we'll be set and running with good health care. That's very important as we get older. And I am an older person. Oh, I know I don't look like it. I'm about 50, right? Yeah. I wish I would have been. But I'm not anymore. The point is that health becomes very important to us as we age, and all of a sudden things start to go wrong. It's like an old car. After a while, things start to wear out. Yeah, it was not like the tires or the engine or anything. It's like, hearing, seeing, kind of important things. However, we've been innovative in this society, and we have learned at least temporary fixes that get us through. And we're going to talk about some temporary fixes today, but one of the things that I've come across just lately, in the last day or so, from an associate in Colorado, that there is a lot of activity happening around the West Yellowstone or the Yellowstone National Park. And to brief you out, I'm going to basically say that there's a lot of information on the internet that you can look at, but they do believe that there's going to be a very strong, very, very strong explosion, earthquake, if you will, that it happens about every 400,000 years, and we're due. We're about 30, 40 years too late. And whether or not that's the truth or not, we don't know, because it could be some more. When I say that, it's not that the seismologists don't know what they're doing or have at least a clue. It's just that sometimes we are given information for another purpose. And I think that's what really worries me and a number of other people, because if this is not preparation for a major disaster, and I'm going to explain a little bit about what I know. I don't know the whole story yet, but I'm going to try to explain it as best I can. And again, what it appears is though seismic activity has taken place about 400,000 years ago, and that we're due for a major in that area. And because I lived in West Yellowstone, Montana, and went into the park frequently, saw the geysers and everything, Old Faithful, and at that time she was faithful. Nowadays it's a little bit different, and so there's some real concerns, and from what I've been told, even the animals are leaving. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that animals seem to be able to sense certain activities that go on here on Earth, whether it's tornadoes or hurricanes or earthquakes. They seem to have notice up front. And when they start to leave an area, generally speaking, it's because there's something imminent that's going to happen. there I go, drinking again. Well, the good part is that this drink won't hurt me. Well, getting back to the seismic activity at Yellowstone National Park. If in fact this is true, what they're predicting is that 70% of the population might disappear. Because, according to their information, if an earthquake of a magnitude of that nature ever takes place, it's going to have a range of about 1,000 miles. That's a heck of a lot of territory that's going to be covered. As a matter of fact, I believe that West Yellowstone is about 900 miles from California and Nevada. So if that were the case, we may think we're out of the danger zone, but it doesn't sound like it from what they're talking about. So what happens, and why are we to be concerned? Because one way or another, and we don't know which way that is because it's something that happened during the Obama administration, they have made plans for 1 million gallons of water to be displayed, or just, I don't say displayed, but to be distributed to 8 states. It's 50 states, and only 8 of them are involved with food and water. And I believe that's what they anticipate the needs are going to be for a year. Hopefully it isn't any shorter than that, but it doesn't really matter. When you do the numbers and you say 8 states, 1 million gallons of water and food, and what about the rest of the people? Because there's 330 million people here in the United States. And if they're only supplying enough for 8 million people, that basically means the others are going to be on their own. But what they have done is they've made arrangements with 3 countries. And as I recall from the conversation I had, by the way, this was a conversation, one of those countries is Australia. Another is, let's see, Australia. I'll think of it in a second. But there's 3 countries that are involved who apparently are going to receive $10 billion a year in preparation for this potentiality. Now, you might say, well, that's wonderful. But then if they're only taking in 1 million people, that's only 3 million more. And that brings the total up to 11 million, and there's, again, 330 million people here in the United States. And if the United States is hit with that, then there's not going to be too many people around in this country. Now, could it happen by other means? Well, yes, it could. Because EMP has just as much power as an earthquake. The only difference is it knocks out all the electrical. And when it knocks out all the electrical, then of course you can't get water, you can't get food, and you don't have transportation because all the vehicles run on electric systems. The batteries, all the wiring, everything. It's all electrical components. When it comes to water, we have to pump water. We use electricity. We have to use electricity for our homes, for heating, cooling, for lighting, to keep our food cold, refrigerators. Even our microwave ovens have to use electricity. So you can see that an EMP has some terrible disadvantages. Now, there was just an article in yesterday's Review Journal that talked about an incident that took place in Australia. Now, in Australia, they have an area similar to Area 51 here in the United States. I believe they call it Area 52. And what happened was there was, I believe, an Iranian drone that went into this area and apparently plummeted to the ground, and apparently it was due to an electrical failure or an EMP. And for those of you who don't know, EMP means electrical magnetic pulses. And for you that don't know, or who know even less, there's only two major forces in the universe: electromagnetics and gravity. Those are the two major forces. Now there's two other minor forces, and that's nuclear fission and something else. Well, you got 3 out of 4. What are you looking for? The point is that we have potential for all kinds of pandemics and natural phenomena, as well as adversaries everywhere here on Earth. And it seems that we're building towards an apostolic event. Apostolic event where we talk about losing 70 to 90% of the United States population of 330 million people. That doesn't include the possibilities with nuclear warheads or the threat of nuclear. It doesn't include some of the other pandemics, dirty bombs, chemical warfare, or the like. Isn't it funny that we have all of these modern innovations, contraptions, if you were, that we need to worry about today, that we didn't have to worry about 40 or 50 years ago. This is the age of innovation and manipulation. Yes, I have to throw in manipulation because, we think that we're on a level playing field with a lot of people in a lot of countries, and frankly, we don't know. We don't know when we're going to turn on them or they're going to turn on us. We've done it. Look at the American Indians. We came into this country, they helped us, they showed us how to plant food, how to hunt, and how to survive. And then we decided we needed what they had, and they didn't have anything. They had nothing. But we wanted the land anyway. And so we decided we'd take it from them. And of course, they resisted. And they did a good job of resisting, but we had the armament, the gunpowder, we had the wherewithal to do away with 500 nations of people. So we've been down this road before. Now, that wasn't bad enough. In addition to the Spanish-American War, the Gulf War, the Korean War, the war in Vietnam, there was a civil war. And that civil war was fought over states' rights. Now, I mention states' rights because, you see, right now we're in the same kind of a situation with the Democrats and the Republicans about states' rights and who has the authority and who doesn't. And it looks like we're going to have to go to bat with them. They've already indicated, as one of their spokesmen has said, hunt Republicans. Well, what does hunt mean to you? You don't go on a hunt unless you plan to kill something. We don't go to war unless we plan to kill something. You see, we're masters at weapons of mass destruction. Even with chemicals, we have them We don't use them, but we have them. We have drones. We have super high-flying spy planes and satellites. We have Area 51, and Australia has Area 52, where they've been secretly developing weapons and planes of the future. But we're not allowed to know just how broad that is, and we think that we have the end game as far as some of these wars or battles, because we haven't declared war on North Korea, we haven't declared war on Syria, we haven't declared war on Iran, we haven't declared war on many other countries. Yet we're there and we're killing people. They in return are killing us. And ISIS has sworn that all the infidels will be killed or converted. And most Christians are not going to be converted to Islam. No, we believe in Jesus Christ. And that's not going to change. We've fought wars in the past about that too, including the Crusades. Now, we can talk about the atrocities that were committed then. We can talk about atrocities that have happened just in about every single conflict or war that we've ever been in. Raping, robbing, destructive, immoral acts that we have committed. And every day we wake up and we find another high-placed representative guilty of some of these things that we thought were in place. Why is it that we can't even control what we have here in the United States? That we can't even get along with another party, that they won't concede the fact that they lost and we won. Is it necessary for us to take up arms? They're indicating that's what they want to do. One of their tribe went to the baseball game just recently and tried to kill several people. And one of them is still in very serious condition and may not make it. Isn't it a sad world now? We just got one of our sons back from North Korea. Pretty timely of them. They decided to release him when they knew he was going to die. Now they say it had something to do with his brain. And it could very well have been just as described, that he didn't get enough blood in his brain and ultimately turned him into an animal. But on the other hand, they could have fed him antifreeze. And antifreeze takes a little bit of time, but it works. You can't smell it. You can't taste it. So we don't know exactly what happened. All we know is that this young man paid the price. And we don't know even if the charges against him were legitimate, because they said he tried to take a poster of propaganda in North Korea and sentenced him to 20 or 25 years of hard labor. Well, he doesn't have to worry about that anymore, because it's over for him. But what about North Korea? Is it over for them? Now we may look at that and say, we'll take care of North Korea. But the fact of the matter is they have plenty of missiles and a huge army that's going to have to go down first. That's not going to be an easy undertaking because we don't know for sure who their allies really are, who will come to their aid if and when they need it, or if and when they're prepared. Are they getting prepared? Yes, they are getting prepared. But as I started out in this broadcast to talk about West Yellowstone National and Yellowstone National Park, we have to bring up another fact that the Obama administration, not only did they order millions and millions of rounds of gunheads, but they had planned for the takeover. Now, we presume it was a Muslim planned takeover, and that this went beyond Mr. Obama, that he had orders that he was following out, and that he was just doing what he was told. It doesn't satisfy us. It doesn't satisfy this nation, who he should have been working for and with. But those are the facts of life. Now people say, well, I never heard him say he was a Muslim. Yet I've seen it 2 or 3 times on television, and it wasn't done by an impersonator, because the facial expressions, the voice, the body language is all Obama. So who's kidding who here? And it's beyond the point of kidding now. You see, I believe, and I'm sure you will agree, and Obama tried to get Hillary Clinton to take over in his footsteps. He was out there, he endorsed her, he campaigned for her. And as luck would have it, and or fate would have it, Donald Trump won. And now they're trying to do everything in the world to displace him, to discredit him, to demean him. Character assassination, everything they can to stop him from moving forward. But he is not one to quit. As a matter of fact, one of the things that he has stated to so many other people is never give up, never quit. And he seems to be doing what he preaches. He seems to be telling us that he's going to get these things done. And I think with God's help, he will. But we need something dramatic. We need to make changes that may not be politically correct, but are necessary for survival of this nation. We have to set the pace for the rest of the world. With 9 billion people on this planet, we're a little bit overgrown. And you say, well, what should we do about that? Well, I don't know. But when we run out of food and water, I guess we'll figure it out. And just like this thing in Yellowstone National Park, they had made provisions for a few people, and I'm sure that we know which people. The problem with that is that when they take the elite, if you would call it that, they won't have anybody to do the work, because the peons will all be dead. Doesn't sound too good, does it? Well, that's what we're facing. And we have to take the time and the effort to see if we can't get it corrected, no matter what it takes. And another thing about Donald Trump that I like, he does whatever is necessary, whatever it takes to get the job done. And that's what we need. And all of this hyperbole about Russia and every distraction that they're trying to throw in his path is nothing but delay tactics. And those people who are responsible for that should be fined, I don't know, taken to court, do something. But I'm not sure that picking up weapons is the thing to do, as the Republicans have demonstrated and have put on the street. Hunt for Republicans. And hunt to me means kill. And at some point in time, if things persist, we will have no other choice but to go after them, one way or another, because it isn't working the way it's supposed to right now. I know in one of the countries they had to put all their bankers in jail, but when they did, and after they did, they turned their economy around, and it's now at a very positive vein. So we have to put all of our political opponents in jail, and most of them deserve it, then maybe that's what we should do. Maybe by the time that they get out, we will have straightened things out, and they won't be in the political field anymore. Is politics all about how much money a person has rather than the quality of the person involved? Is everything about demeaning, demoralizing, about personal attacks? Well, that's the way Washington seems to be. And nobody wants to cooperate. And even on the inside, it looks like there are a few bad sheep. That all of a sudden we're finding out more and more about these individuals. And it appears that there aren't any white lilies in that pond in Washington, D.C. That's a shame. Because we put our trust in those people, and they have betrayed us. Betrayed us. They, in fact, may be traitors. So it's time to close the show today, and I hope that some of you are paying attention and are willing to step up to the plate and do whatever is necessary to make America great again, to make Americans first. And those people who are un-American need to find maybe a place where they can go and control the agenda. Again, this is Blu Laker. This is Radio Tribune in Las Vegas, Nevada. We're at 717 South 9th Street. That's at the corner of Charleston and 9th. We're here every day except Saturday and Sunday. My show, Blu Laker and Cobra USA, usually begins at 2 and sometimes goes until 3, and sometimes a little bit longer. But join us. The telephone number is 702-743-8297. Have a great day. We're almost through the weekend. Let's try to make it through.